When I first started with VR, I could barely play Oculus First Steps without getting motion sick. Now I can use full locomotion movement for hours and feel completely normal. I think when beating VR sickness, like most things in life, it really just comes down to actually doing it. You can watch 100 videos, eat ginger, put on a fan, but I find it's a lot like learning to drive. At the end of the day, you just have to get used to it slowly, and then after a while, you can do it without even thinking. I'm going to be telling you my general experience, but just in summary, you just have to build up to it slowly and there's no magic shortcuts. It took me about 1 month and 150 hours in VR to get completely used to locomotion movement with zero motion sickness, and I think anyone can too. So the first time I got my Rift S, I played the game Oculus First Steps, and then I played Oculus First Contact. It made me super motion sick and I had to sit outside for a couple of hours and things just didn't feel right. Almost like a jet lag dizzy feeling. I then played some Beat Saber and Vader Immortal, and it got to the point where I could use teleport movement and not get sick. I remember the ladders in Vader Immortal, they gave me that feeling of spinning in a playground, just awful. So I then played through Half-Life Alyx with teleport movement, and at the time I couldn't do Boneworks, it just made me too sick. And for about 3 weeks, I played through Alyx and some other teleport movement-based games, and after each session, after each day, I got less and less motion sick. So I really felt like I used the boiling the frog method. At the end of that point, I returned my Rift S, and I didn't have a VR headset, and I had that itch scratching to go and play games again. So I went out and got a Quest 2 after a month, and then Boneworks made me less sick the first time I played it, and then I put a fan on, and the motion sickness almost completely went away. So after about 3 to 4 days of playing an hour a day with the Quest 2, I only got motion sick when I was jumping down really big heights, or if I was moving in a direction I wasn't facing. And then after about another week of playing Boneworks, that feeling almost completely went away. So I really want to emphasize this. VR motion sickness is something you can beat. At the start, I thought I would get stuck with this forever, and it's just something that would never go away, but you can beat it. I went from not being able to use it to being able to play any game with locomotion and get zero motion sickness. So then here are some general tips that I found really helped me when beating VR motion sickness. So the first one is you have to ease into it. Start with basic games like First Contact and Beat Saber, and then move on to teleport movement like Vader Immortal and Half-Life Alyx, and take small breaks when you start feeling sick. When taking breaks, I found sitting outside in the sun with fresh air really helped me. Sitting outside while drinking some cold water, it helps you get back into reality. Standing and making the motions as you're moving also really helped me as well a lot. So when you're running, pretend like you're walking with your arms and walk on the spot with your legs. And then close your eyes occasionally when you think things are going to push past your limits. So when in Boneworks, for big jumps or awkward movements, I would just close my eyes when doing them in those early stages, just to get past that initial barrier. Having a fan facing towards you when you first sit with locomotion also really helps. After using the fan for a week, I sort of realized I didn't need it. It helps ground you in the space as well as gives you that fresh air. So when you're first doing locomotion movement, I'd say it's really time to turn that fan on. Having some kind of floor mat to keep you centered in the room also really helps. I found it stopped me doing those awkward fallovers in VR, and it helped keep me in the same spot without having to think about it. So have some kind of food placement mat on the ground just to help keep you grounded in the room. And remember, you can beat it, and it is temporary. Apparently when the first 3D games were coming out, like Doom, people said it made them motion sick. But just like that, you can get used to it. It just takes time. I was speaking to an older person at my work, and he was telling me about how when he used to play Wolfenstein, it just made him incredibly dizzy back when it first came out. And I think there's a lot of parallels to VR now. It'll just take time to get used to it. I could sit here and tell you to eat ginger or buy all these random products or whatever, but at the end of the day, it really just comes down to getting used to it, which I believe anyone can. Good luck. You can beat it, just small increments, and you'll be fine.